get the latest on what's happening with the government this morning. Joining us, excuse me, oh my goodness, I've got that conference cold. Was it you guys that gave it to me? I think it might have been. Yeah, fully over the weekend. Lee Rowley, of course, local government minister. Hi, it's good to see you.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us on the programme. What is the latest as far as the British government is concerned with Israel and Hamas?
It's shocking events over the weekend, and it's absolutely outrageous what has happened. The Prime Minister yesterday gave his full and unequivocal support to Israel. Israel has an absolute right to defend itself. There's going to be difficult days ahead in the Middle East, but Israel will have the right to defend itself, and the UK government will support them in doing that.
What are we going to do about the Brits that are stuck out there?
Well, the Foreign Office is, as it always does when there are challenges around the world, it's working very hard to make sure it knows where British nationals are, to provide support, to provide the support that is necessary, and also, whether it's in Israel, Gaza or whatever it is, encouraging people not to travel where it's not necessary, but also supporting where it's needed.
I totally get that, Mr. Rowley, but do we know where the Brits are?
Well, there are many, many people who go in and out of Israel every single day. I think the Foreign Office is trying to focus on where it is necessary, where their support is needed. Obviously, there is this significant challenge at the moment with people from Israel who may be have been taken into Gaza. Foreign Office and the Foreign Secretary is working very hard on ensuring that we are clear about what's happening.
And should Brits travel to Israel at the moment?
Well, the Foreign Office will make any announcements that's appropriate.
At the moment, they still
warded.
Should.
Yeah, I think, as I understand it, it is still okay to travel to Israel. We've advised against travelling to elsewhere, such as Gaza and the like. But it really is for the Foreign Secretary, who has got a full understanding of all this situation, who will make announcements.
Hopefully he'll update us soon. Tell me what the government's doing to sort out or challenge or get into sharper focus any anti-Semitic attacks, whatever form they might be, here in the UK.
Anti-Semitism is absolutely unacceptable. The government's been very clear about that, and we've brought in laws over many years in order to do that. There's been seen some isolated incidents over the past few days. The Met Police have said that they are stepping up patrols. There is clear rules about what can be done where protest transgresses into things which are unacceptable, and I know that police around the country will do what is necessary should that be the case.
But a Palestinian flag fluttering from the back of a car, is that too much?
Well, as I understand it, there are some things which absolutely can't happen. You cannot support prescribed organisations like Hamas within the United Kingdom, and if that's the case, then I would expect the police to take action accordingly. There is a right to protest. We have to respect the right to protest. I have no idea.
Does that include the flags?
I have no idea why people.
In your opinion?
I have no idea why people would do that. We have just seen a clear terrorist attack on Israeli soil. You know, they're describing it as the equivalent of their 911. I would encourage people not to go out and to protest in the way that they can. But ultimately, there is a right to protest, but there is not a right. There is absolutely not a right to glorify terrorism, and I expect the police to come down on that where that occurs, if it occurs.
I understand that, and of course, we have to hold our noses if sometimes people feel that it's appropriate to flutter flags and shout abuse from a vehicle. But what about if these are, kids who are just being over-exuberant for whatever reason? Should they still be arrested?
There's no over-exuberance in glorifying terrorism, and so people should be very clear what the law is. People shouldn't break the law, and people should also have the decency to recognise that over 1,000 people have died over the weekend in a completely unprovoked attack.
No, I understand that.
And I would be very cautious about what people are doing.
But I would put it to you that another way of looking at that potentially is offering support to those who are in Gaza that are being bombarded at the moment. Well,
Israel has just seen a large number of people come over a sovereign border, kill indiscriminately some of their citizens. 240 people, as I understand it, who've died, who are at a festival. And I think that it is incumbent upon us all to recognise that Israel has a right to defend itself, has a right to resolve the issues which are going on. And what happens on the streets of the UK is that people should be extremely cautious and should know exactly where the law is, and they cannot
Absolutely, Minister, but all civilians have the right to live in peace. And I'm saying to you, if people here in the United Kingdom are flying a flag in order to offer support for civilians in Gaza, is that something that this government would be opposed to?
There's absolutely no way that we can ever get to peace in the Middle East, which we all want to see and have wanted to see for many decades, through the kind of things which happened over the weekend. And therefore, I think in terms of choices that people are making in the United Kingdom right now, I would suggest they be extremely cautious about those choices which they make.
So the demonstration outside the Israeli embassy later on by Palestinian supporters should not go ahead?
As I've said, there is laws. People know when they transgress those laws. They know what they're not able to do. And I would expect everybody else to show caution.
No, I don't necessarily think that that's completely what you were saying. You were saying that they shouldn't be offering support for civilians in Gaza, and this demonstration outside the embassy this evening is exactly what they will want to be doing.
Okay, as I've said, there is a right to protest in the United Kingdom, and we have to accept that right to protest even when we find it distasteful. But at the same time, there are laws around glorifying terrorism, there are laws around anti-Semitism, and within the United Kingdom, and there's also a relevance about what people should do and how they should consider their actions. But it's ultimately for them to determine within the bounds of the law. Yeah,
but I think it's a reasonable discussion. Let me just ask you one final question on that, and then we'll move on to other topics. And that is, we did see a member of the Labour Party sharing a platform with a Palestinian organisation. Do you think that's reasonable at this time?
I was surprised to see that. The chairman of the Conservative Party, Greg Hands, has written last night to the Labour Party to highlight that and to ask the Labour Party leadership what they are doing about that. We hope to hear from them soon.
But as we know, they've said that it isn't an organisation that is illegal in this country, and as a result, they're not going to take any action. If she was a member of the Conservative Party, would action have been taken, do you think?
Well, thankfully, she's not a member of the Conservative Party. I mean, ultimately, it is for people to determine how they want to conduct themselves, but for members of Parliament particularly to think about the messages and the signals that they're sending out. I think what Salman Begum did yesterday, or on Saturday, was not necessarily an appropriate thing to do, and we've highlighted it.
OK. Talk to me, if you would, please, about regeneration projects, which would undoubtedly involve building more homes. These homes, are they going to be private homes or affordable homes? How are you going to decide, and where are you going to build them?
There'll be a mixture of all. It's about bringing brownfield sites which are more challenging, more difficult, have issues on them, bringing them back into use so that they can across communities across the UK, they can be used to build housing. So we have an old school site in Hull, for example, which hopefully will bring on 99 new homes. And there'll be a range of private homes, social homes, affordable homes in the different sites across the communities as a whole.
Building on Greenbelt?
Well, the intention of the announcement today is to bring brownfield on. It's brownfield first, where there is previously developed land, where we can use that, where it can be used to both redevelop and regenerate and bring on the new housing that we need. We want to do that first. Our preference is not to use Greenbelt. We've been very clear about the fact that we believe that Greenbelt should be protected. And throughout the years, our policy has always been to bring brownfield on first.
OK. Successful conference, Minister, do you think?
I think it was clearly setting out the willingness of the Prime Minister to make difficult decisions. We're in a challenging time, both nationally and across the world as a whole. And what Rishi was showing last week was his willingness to take decisions which may be more difficult, may not be popular in some circumstances, but that's the kind of leader I want in the coming years.
OK, let's see what happens. It's good to see you, Minister. Thanks very much, Sinead, for joining us on the programme this morning. Thank you.